We're not zooming this, are we?
Yes,
We are. Okay, good.
we're on.
Okay, this is Bill Kanda, Custer County Board of Health Chairman. Today's Wednesday, July the 6th, 2022, 1:31 p.m. And I'll call this meeting to order. And with that, let's silence our phones because I got mine open. If you've got a phone, silence it. It's being recorded on Zoom and on YouTube, I think. Both. Right. Okay, with that, let's stand for the pledge. Dr. Brown, you want to start us off?
Certainly. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So Dorothy, you got a roll call over there?
Yes, sir. Board Chair, Mr. Bill Kanda.
Here.
Board Member, Mr. Kevin Day.
Present.
Board Member, Mr. Tom Flowers.
Present.
Attorney, Mr. Clint Smith.
Present.
And Dr. Brown.
Present.
And myself, Dorothy Karsten.
Okay, that's good. Thank you, Dorothy. Audience introductions, I think that takes care of the audience here too. And is anybody online?
I don't see anybody now.
Okay, good. Okay, any amendments to the agenda? Kevin?
No, sir.
Tom?
No, sir.
And we have no minutes yet. Now, we did have a meeting. Did we get those from the last meeting, Dorothy? You were
I have
here.
to look. I think
been
I may
2
have-
months.
I may owe you one. We did
Yeah.
not have a meeting in June.
That's correct. Okay, so we'll get those later. And you are taking minutes for this
I am,
one.
sir.
All right. Anything from the board members here to report?
No, sir.
No.
Kevin? And none from Tom?
No, sir.
And I don't either, except I had a question last time you were talking about. Was it an IT issue or whatever? I can't remember what your issue was the last time that I wanted to ask you about. I'll think of it later.
Seems like
it
it
was, it
too.
would be a long time ago.
Yeah.
No worries. Oh, had to do with COVID reporting. It got started again,
Yes, sir.
right? So we're good. That
Yes.
was my question.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you got a coordination cycle going with Vernon and Linda Washington and from you?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
good.
In fact, several of them today.
Okay, good. Okay, Dr. Brown, since we still got COVID around, what's the status on it? And then we'll get into what you're
Well,
working.
Yesterday, I would have said we're doing really well.
Don't spoil it.
Yeah, sorry about that. We don't have a lot. We have a husband and wife and they go off the record today, so we're down to 5, but we have 2 more. We have one young lady who is attending a class at one of the camps, not outside town, but inside town. And showed up very symptomatic yesterday afternoon, terrific headache. Tested her, and sure enough, she is positive. And we had another one show up that was from a totally separate family, seemingly unrelated. And these people are all people who have had vaccinations and doesn't seem to even be slowing it down. When I look at the charts that I promised not to bring you guys again.
Okay, so how many positives?
Yeah, we have right now 5.
Okay.
And we have one more going to be appearing. There's 2 of them go off, but basically this does not appear because we have no hospitalizations, no deaths, from any of this kind of batch or
This strain.
variant, strain. But it does seem to go right through. You can have 4 boosters and you're still going to get this. I mean, as you get exposed, you're probably going to show. So thankfully, it's not a serious illness that this is producing, but it is illness. So it's still a concern, but people are responding beautifully. They really report, they self-report, they phone me up.
And if they're not self-reporting, they must be isolating or
They
doing
are,
something because it's not a pandemic.
That's right. Exactly. So this is the way it should be. This is the way it was when all of us grew up. If you're sick, you stay home, for heaven's sake. But other than that, there isn't even much discussion going on statewise. And I
Yeah, I haven't seen.
just got off the call from today, from this week. So I'm not terribly concerned. The graph, even though I didn't give you guys graph, the line kind of dropped down and came up a little bit, dropped and came up a little bit. And it looks like we're going down. Hospitalizations are going down.
Trend is down.
The trend is down. Exactly. It is trending down.
Okay.
And nothing terribly serious. I mentioned down the way someplace here, relative to monkeypox. For the last week, we have had 8 positives. I sent you guys, did you receive, are you guys receiving my notifications?
I saw your note.
Okay, so you saw the notes on monkeypox
Mhm.
then. Do you have any, before I spend any time on this, do you guys have any questions of any of the kind of communications that I sent you relative to monkeypox? Transmissibility, specific populations.
We have to, and I heard we have 1 or 2 cases in the state, was what you said.
We
and
have 8.
Is there 8 now? And but there's nothing near us.
No, but it's all the same population. It's all in Denver.
Okay.
Any other questions, gentlemen? Okay. So the communicable disease status, we are not experiencing a high level of anything right now. We do have some colds, flus, so on, things that we always see, but nothing in epidemic or worrisome proportions. I hired an additional nurse RN who I want to finally, we have openings here, to get trained for lactation. That makes sense to all you guys, breastfeeding. Okay. And she has had experience, quite a bit of experience with that in the past, other regions around the state and elsewhere. And she is very excited. She worked with us during our big COVID clinics at Lang Hall.
Do
And
we know
she's,
her? What's her name?
Dora, Deb Carl. So she,
Deb Carr.
Carr, yes.
Oh, Carr.
Yeah, she'll be joining us here, I believe, next week. And she'll be going through recertification classes. She had allowed her certification to drop in December. So this is now 7 months into it. So she's going through recertification classes. We have grant monies to take care of that. But she will kind of be stepping in and performing a baseline base because she is so experienced in so many areas. So if something, heaven forbid, were to happen to Sherry, for instance, she could step in and cover both vaccinations and almost
Good.
everything else.
Is this a grant hire or?
Yes. Yeah, if you guys are paying the bill, believe I would have told you.
Well, you tell us anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, that is our only personnel change as far as a physical plant structure change and so on. We have number 8, if you notice on your list there, another storage shed, and it's covered under the ELC grant so that we can separate out our EPR materials, supplies, so on. So if we need to load it up under the trailer and haul it someplace, if we have something that explodes or the water supply is contaminated or something, we need to very quickly respond, we can do that. So everything is more organized than just having it all tossed in. the
That was
same
that
place.
$6,000 charge that they had.
I see you have 2 of those storage.
Yes,
sheds.
yeah, we've had the one for, we got it last summer. Okay, and everything that we could was moved into there. We had a lot of things sitting up. It's kind of one level up. Remember, the ceiling comes kind of up like this. We have a ceiling over here that we just stack boxes of testing kits and so on, all sitting up there. So we're trying to, as much as we can, get things organized into a readily accessible emergency basis if we need it. And we gave out another, I would say 12 test kits this morning, testing kits with 2 tests in each one of them this morning, because people are asking, because they don't have kind of the coverage that we've had in the past. Anyway, so those things are being done. We've gone through much of what was in the trailer and transferred it over.
We'll talk more about that. in a minute. So you're back up there with
Now, our number 3.
3 programmatic change edition.
Right, we have gone through some verification of tests that we are in, trainings that we had taken in the future, emergency trainings, as 100, 200, 700, 800, and for the management of EPR and other sort of things. We now have 3 individuals. So if something happens to 2 of us, we have 3 people who are certified, so to speak, to the state, through the state for EPR administration.
Okay.
Those are, and that's just kind of a shift to get back into doing what we needed to do and have been needing to do, but has been cutting it pretty close because of COVID. Number 4, any questions on that, gentlemen?
No, sir, good. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay. Water quality hazards. If something were to happen that our watershed became overwhelmed and we had a deluge coming down the mountainsides, if you notice from where our treatment plants are located, we could very easily be deluged, be flooded, and have that carried down through the valley and contaminate wells, and water splits.
From the septic system.
Yes, sir.
Treatment plant here in
Yes, sir. Yes,
Round Mountain.
So when I was attending their meetings, the last meeting that I attended, they were discussing additional layouts and looked really, really good, except that there was nothing included. And I asked the secretary of that board after the mitigation meeting, so what do we have for protection? Do we have any dikes? Do we have stone walls? What do we have to keep the water out from overwhelming this plant? And she said nothing. So this is of concern to me. I would like to have not only a wastewater monitoring program, as we've talked about before several times, but like to have some kind of protection so at least water gets diverted around that area. So
you're aware they have a new technology and they're
Yes.
gonna redo the ponds and
Yes.
get rid of those 2 ponds.
yes,
So,
and that's what I'm referring to.
okay, so you're looking at the future for when
Yes, sir.
they do upgrade, that
Yes,
they
sir.
include some of it. So you've got that on Schultz's or on just Dave
Schneider's.
Snyder's
Yeah,
screen.
and so I'll be probably going to be picking on them again in their meetings, just to remind them that there are other public health hazards potential there. It looks like I did write a letter of recommendation for Mr. Schneider.
I think we all endorsed.
Okay, good. So hopefully, I just
Did we
haven't
send
heard
it
back.
over
Have you
there?
guys heard?
We sent a letter, didn't we? Or a note.
I believe we did, yes.
Okay, yeah. So I know that he is trying to get this taken care of. Lake Louise. We don't have anything. We've had so much rain and everything going through. We've not had the warmth to grow the algae yet this summer, so we are still doing very, very well out
What's it
there.
called? The red scourge? What is it?
Yes, the red, yeah, or the red tide. as
The
you-
red tide.
Yeah. So that is clean and clear for us at this time. We also, I continue to have individuals phone in and say, you know, there's a problem up here. These guys are dumping their waste, they're dumping raw sewage into valleys.
Or is it all around or is it in one area?
It has been around the valley. I don't have much out in the north, but I do have on Bear Basin.
They're dumping in the bar pits or what are they doing?
They're dumping in the valleys that go by their property. And of course, there are other property owners down the drainage area from that. So
People are dumping on their own campsite properties or
Well,
on somebody else's.
not necessarily just on their own camp, on their own grounds. And so it is crossing boundaries, which obviously is where the county comes into play. So I took one of the sheriffs, the deputies out with me last time, and I have another. I'm waiting for all the pictures that they claim that they have of some of these things going on. And so at that point, then I will be taking deputies.
So from a, what Jackie would have issued a cease and desist on something like that as from a health and
Right.
safety point of
And
view.
I
You're
did,
gonna have to do that.
that's right. I
Maybe
did
work with Quinn on that.
speak with Jackie about that, and we have to gather more information. I have to see the pictures. I have to see things as specifically presented as they can be for times, dates, and places. But yes. And so there will be, through Clint, we will be issuing hopefully very appropriate directives.
Well, he's done it before.
Are
Yes.
these people that don't have septic systems or anything? What's going on?
The one that is really concerning for me right now moved onto this place, this acreage, 5 acres or so.
He own it or they own it or?
No, another person in the valley here owns it.
Letting them camp on it.
Yeah, essentially. And there is a septic system there, septic tank, but they're not hooked up to it. And so it's effectively, yeah, it meets the criterion for the owner. But
He's got to allow
Not if
them to
it's
put a
functional.
tube in the pipe,
yeah, oh yeah, but
but he's not.
they
doing
were
it.
seen wandering around looking at the septic system, but there is no hose, no. None
Can you
big
see where they've
tubes or
been
anything.
dumping? Is there some?
Yeah,
proof?
they actually watched them
Sounds like he could do it now.
dump their raw sewage. Well,
Why you need to wait?
because I need to have some evidence before I start making accusations.
So what are they living in, a trailer, an RV?
They're living in an RV, and there was already one RV there, which
Okay.
now makes 2 RVs, and if I'm not mistaken, that's not acceptable either.
Shouldn't be, yeah.
Right. So anyway, that's why, I have to gather enough evidence before I can actually make a whole lot of moves. I don't want to do anything inappropriately. Anyway, that's the type of thing. It has been in the past, cars stashed with.
So
with
from a
trash.
sanitarian point of view,
Yes,
you're ready to act. You just need some more pictures. You need to
that's right.
catch
I need more
somebody.
pictures. I need to take the sheriff out with me, so I have a witness
Well,
be
you'll
sent to
have
me.
whatever he writes up to serve.
Yes,
Well, if we're
But he has-
satisfied they're doing it,
That's
we
right.
just put a cease and
We can do it
desist on
now.
it right away, and we
that's right.
tape everything up shut, either that or they move them off there somewhere.
Yeah.
But we can't just take one person's, a neighbor, to report without talking to the people so that they have a chance to say, no, I didn't do that, or whatever they're gonna say.
And whatever Jackie's been doing, whatever the process is, you need to go and verify it.
And that's right. And I talked to Jackie about it, and she agreed with everything that I was doing.
Okay.
Okay. The air quality monitoring system, we have the purple monitor up, and we went through a training program and demonstration with the company for the N5s. And those will be, we had to have one replaced, it wasn't working properly, so those will be up as soon as we get the second unit. The Opioid Governance Council.
Questions on that?
I'm sorry.
No, that's the same thing that
Yeah,
Butch
talking
brought
to
earlier
Amy,
today.
Butch was talking.
Sure. Yeah, we went down and sat at the wizard's office.
Yeah.
And through presentation. The opioid governance council, we have, I don't know if you guys have had a chance to look at your emails today. Did you receive one?
Awesome. I didn't get a chance to look at it.
Some medications that have been being produced and sold. One of them is in an essential oil base, but you can also get it in powder and you can get it in pills. And supposedly it's to help people through their withdrawal from opioid addiction. The FDA today sent out their emails saying cease and desist to all 4 companies that are producing these at this time until further investigation can be done, because they've had some negative reports. So I don't know, I have no way of knowing, because I have no roster delineating for me from either the state or from individuals or from any place else. But I suspect that we're not unlike other counties. We do have certain people who are dependent at this time when they've undergone a lot of pain medication use. And it's very tough. Once you get some relief from the pain, it's very tough to go away and go back to hurting again. So it's a challenge. It's not just a challenge here, it's a challenge everywhere. Anyway, that particular medication is being taken off the market. There are signs of aggression. There are signs of all sorts of stomach irritation disorders and so on, a lot of nervousness, nausea, vomiting. Just not a real good situation for a lot of people, but it's the aggression that I'm really probably more concerned about, because the others tend to be more private.
Okay.
This is a question because anytime things are running down and across the road or creating some kind of a hazard, it challenges us in delivering people by ambulance down hardscrabble, of course, and potentially brings things down into the water supply there that goes down through Wetmore. And of course, it is of public health concern. Has there been any consideration of using culverts or any other kind of water redirection?
I can speak to that some because I'm driving by there every day now.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
They have had, CDOT has culverts in place there, a lot of which have been plugged. And if you're driving up and down the hardscrabble now, that is one of the things they are working on as we speak, is opening up those culverts. So through the corners there where it comes down and comes across the road,
Yes.
that issue is being addressed at this time.
Excellent. Excellent. I didn't even know there are culverts under there.
There
There's
are.
so this drop off the pavement. You know.
Anytime you see the delineator with the 3 amber buttons on it,
Okay.
there's a pipe there.
I see.
It may not be operational, but there is a
But
pipe.
there's a pipe someplace. Plugged in one end and opened on the other.
But they are digging those out. That's what that little mini excavator is doing. And so they're in the process of opening those up now.
Okay, good. I knew I could ask you and find out about this.
They got quite a grant because they're replacing all those signs, kind of, and I can't figure out, because looking at them, looked like the new ones were smaller than the old ones. Is that, or is it the other way around?
Is that visual acuity testing?
I don't know. They were
Yes
different.
and no.
One
I
were
think-
brighter and I can't tell which ones are the
Yeah,
new.
they almost seem to be hitting each other and
So
some
they
of them.
placed them
Some
in
of
the same
them are
spot.
like this.
The old ones will be pulled out
I see.
Yeah.
shortly. They're setting the new ones and then they'll pull the old ones.
I was afraid I was developing cancer and seeing double.
Because they could have saved some of that money and given us some more for the sidewalk.
There you go.
All right, keep going.
Okay, so we covered number 8, the storage of office supplies and actually itemizing and where it is, so that if something happened to us or it was in the middle of the night, we haven't gotten
Somebody
out
else can
yet,
do it.
somebody else could gravitate to it. It should be organized. We did go to the OEM refresher course mitigation meeting. And there were some, Kevin, you were there for the last half or so. So there's some good discussions going on there. And hopefully be able to communicate the need for at least questions to be asked, because so many things are really obvious. Like if you had a truck hauling chlorine gas turn over near the creek out here, there would be no question. I think somebody would phone public health. But there's so many other things that are not even being asked about that I would like to see. And I'm working through the mitigation, but also I would like to see some of our fire and our Department of Transportation and so on, at least making a phone call so I can respond. So
They go out there on that crash, what killed they had that fatality and turned over semi and a bunch of fuel spill out there. They sent up a hazard cleanup team up here.
Right.
Were you aware of that?
yes, sir.
Sure, they were called.
But in general, I'm not, and that's what concerns me. Okay, moving right along, certification MRC, I've already mentioned that. We have 3 employees now, we're administrative officers plus nurses and so on.
What does that mean, certification for MRC administration?
For calling up volunteers.
Yeah.
We have a process, a call down tree.
Okay, so you're working with the new employees
Right,
to recertify them to figure
and
out
to
how to
get
do it.
all the other people who were originally called in and on a list. I would say 80% when we called them said, I don't
I'm
think so.
not doing it now. or
No,
something. Okay.
no, I'm too old or COVID scared me off or whatever. So we've developed a
Sure.
new list,
Okay,
and the new listing of sites, churches, places we can house people and get them taken care of if they need to be.
and you're keeping them current. If somebody wants to be a volunteer, then
yes,
you're
sir.
keeping them certified at whatever they want to volunteer.
Yeah,
for.
and we've just redone this, I'd say within the last 3 weeks.
Good.
We're pretty current. I did put, do you guys, Tom, do you have any questions?
I'm good.
Kevin?
No.
Okay. I just put both of our nurses through, because I missed the first one, so I couldn't take the next 2, but through the TB educational updates. Remember, I've been discussing this repeatedly for quite a while. The fact that we have so many people who are not being screened at all, just coming through our borders. And that means we're dealing with new strains of TB. We were completely clean, literally documented clean of TB. And now we have this little baby to deal with again. So it's,
So how many cases do we have?
we don't have here, we have none, same as we have no.
When you say here,
monkeypox
you mean Colorado? or
in
what?
Colorado, yes, and in the United States in general. So as soon as it gets pretty well through our big cities, then we start to have people coming out and visiting and sharing. So that's a concern. I want to be prepared.
So they're pretty black and white test and have somebody checked out. What's the symptom that you
There
would
are-
call somebody?
Yeah, there are many situations in which there's not much of a symptom set to be able to recognize. So a lot of these people, the only time we actually know that they're there is when they apply for a job in a healthcare facility and we check them because it has to be done.
Hmm.
And they're not negative, they're positive.
So what are you thinking? Maybe something during the health fair to
Well-
offer the test just to check people?
We
When
can
we do
offer
it.
the check, but we also need to offer a whole bunch of education.
That's what I mean. But a health
Yes.
fair would be an ideal
Yes,
time to
of
get
course.
a pretty good population of
Absolutely.
people we get a pretty good turnout on our health fair.
Yes, sir.
Usually.
And I also, since we weren't able to do because we had no provider cooperation to do it, our athletics, our high school, junior high athletes getting checked this summer.
That'd be a good thing just for their physical.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, anyway, next exciting issue here in 13. So we are preparing that trailer. We have replaced the tires. We have generators now for power. And we're beginning the shopping around search for parts and pieces so that we can set everything up. Lee and I probably will do the majority of the work to cut down the cost. But to put a bladder type of bathroom in there and sink, examination potentials, plus a couple of fold down beds if we need them in case we need to use our trailer and the others, the Butch has and so on, for firefighting or other kinds of disasters. So we can put somebody down when they need to lie down and not put them on the floor. Plus, having everything stocked and stored in cabinets and everything labeled. So like we talked about before, we can get to it very quickly.
Okay.
So the trailer is now movable again safely down the highway. We have the vehicle to be able to do so. And we are looking to finish off with electrical wiring. And we do actually have that. We have two generators. One is gas propane, the other is just pure gas to be able to power it. So that if things happen during the winter or during the very heat of the summer, we will have capabilities of doing so. Questions, Sharon?
Good.
Okay. See, I didn't give you any grabs.
There you
Aren't you
go.
disappointed?
You're not done yet.
I am pretty close to done.
Okay.
I did go through number 13, and that was one on the other side. Okay.
I do have a question
Yes,
about
sir.
the sanitarian
Yes.
thing. Should our planning and zoning director be the sanitarian? Or should that be housed in public health?
It isn't how, it is House of Public Health, but why is why is the director of planning and zoning there? Is it because that person's certified with septic systems?
That's
That's what it's about.
That's exactly, it's a certification. And we can get other people certified. It's just that it has not been
I
necessary.
think by the statute, the sanitarian owns it. The public health owns the sanitarian.
Yeah, I guess tongue in cheek, I asked that question. Jackie's been the sanitarian.
Yes.
I don't know that that's
Why?
gospel.
No.
Should that entire responsibility be housed somewhere other
Yeah,
than
see.
planning and zoning?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
I'm just bringing it up for conversation. I don't have a preconceived idea that should be somebody in public health, but it's a public health deal. So we've had this discussion about the responsibilities of the new planning and zoning director. Currently, it includes the sanitarian.
Right.
I just had this thought of, well, wait, does it have to include the sanitarian for public?
I don't know how it got there other than the fact that they do the septic systems.
Right.
I
But
don't like it. But that doesn't mean, there's other things that are unsanitary. It's like dumping stuff on somebody else's property or wash out a garbage or whatever.
so I'm not advocating creating another position necessarily, but I wanted to challenge the thought process of,
Another position.
does the sanitarian belong in planning and zoning or does it belong in public health?
Does it not belong in both?
I don't know.
Well, see, planning and zoning is different than the job of septic certification. So it doesn't really belong in planning and zoning. It just
I don't
happens that
I think it does necessarily,
it's
just because.
just
it's been
because she
there,
was doing
but-
both jobs is the reason.
But,
See what I'm saying? Planning and zoning has nothing to do. with it.
Yeah, I could care less about
It's not
that.
them. They don't own anything on that. But
right,
Well, I know that when I was making some phone calls, there's, I don't know which county you would call. Some of them are housed in their zoning department, some of them are housed in their public health. Matter of fact, Pueblo and Huerfano both, their outs inspectors are part of public
public
health.
health.
Yes.
That's right. So it just happened that we had I don't know how it involved. I have no idea.
yeah, I don't either.
Just
What
that
it was.
There was a need for somebody to certify in septic systems.
Right.
And why they ever put it in Jackie's office, I have no idea.
Was that what she, I'm sorry, this is my ignorance. Is that what she was originally, was
No.
planning and zoning?
She came on, and there was already an office there that had 3 or 4 people doing the out stuff for septic systems and plan and zoning. And she came in and they consolidated. She took on a couple jobs
She volunteered to do all three of these jobs.
and saved some money.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because at that time, there's not nearly the traffic building anything up here then. So that's a good question. We could always look at, and decide whether it needs to be there. Somebody needs to have that job description in their job title on, it doesn't, even if it was Dr. Brown, I mean.
Heaven
Yeah,
forbid.
or Clint, he'd be the lawyer and
I thought that the sanitarian really should be part of public health
It's-
and not planning. and
it actually is. That's where where it belongs.
And that's where it should be officially.
Yeah, and as far as septic system inspections, that's the issue. Who should do that? Could be anybody, could be the sanitarian.
I think that's all part of it, to be sure that it's installed.
I would think
properly.
that's a good idea. So-
We've had just a little backstory. We've had this prolonged conversation about the duties and responsibilities of the new planning and zoning director if and when we hire one.
Right.
We had talked about splitting those up into different people, and we eventually circled the wagons and come back and said, well, the planning and zoning director can do that.
Right.
But we had issues with salary, we had issues with interest in that job. So
Well, and you look at
it might warrant some conversation.
sure, and you look at the bigger picture, it makes some sense. It's in the zoning area. Or the plan, because septic systems, where the rules and the procedures is maybe a good thing. But it could be a job description of another person you hire in the public.
That's what I was
agency that
thinking.
Takes on
Let's
that job.
just say for the sake of argument, we hired a sanitarian. I wouldn't think that
Take
person would be part of planning and zoning. I
Right.
think would be part of public health.
And that would, and also take on the septic system inspections. As part of the job description.
Right, as part of the sanitarian.
Certifying septic system.
Yeah, under environmental health.
Yeah, that's what I would
And
like to
then
say. I don't know why.
planning and zoning could do,
Planning and zoning stuff.
yeah.
Well, they issued the permits and do they still issue the permits, but then the sanitarian's the one that goes out and does the inspection on it?
Why
No,
couldn't
well,
public health issue those?
Yeah, I think
Should the permits then be issued through public health?
that's what I'm saying. The permits for certification of septic systems ought to be that person inspecting them. In that office doing the job.
Right.
Jackie was
Permitting.
splitting it.
Contractors aren't gonna like that.
Well, they'd have to go to a different building, but
Compliance officer is what I was thinking about. I could see the compliance officer being planning and zoning because that person's gonna make sure they're
that's
compliant
where I was
with.
with
the
the
zoning
zoning
regulations.
regulations. That's why I thought it was a fit for the
Yeah.
septic systems to be over there to be
So-
compliant.
uh,
So maybe it still stays over there with that aspect, but the sanitarian job is in your shop.
Yes, it is,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah, I think the compliance officer is planning and zoning, because they might be complying to building heights or other things.
Sure,
Doesn't have anything to
They
do
don't-
with
that's
public
right.
health. Right,
but,
just a thought.
that's why you would be paying part of that salary of the director of zoning and planning that would be partially the sanitarian's job for you. See what I'm saying?
I would understand paying
The
the
sanitarian,
sanitarian.
that's what I'm
Yes.
saying.
Okay, I understand.
That's the way we were looking at it.
I just think it's a conversation that we might should entertain as we move forward. I don't know.
We got it now, it is, and we can break it off at some point. That's a good point.
Yeah, we're in kind of flux right now, so.
See what we get. I had a question on the van. Did they ever get it licensed and the transmission or the
No, they
thing
have
working?
not.
So where is
You
it?
know,
Why are we
I
not
tried-
doing something with it?
I tried to phone
Byron,
Chris.
Chris,
Yeah, sorry.
You're not answering?
Yeah, I did not, wasn't able to catch on to him.
What
and I had tried the latest last week, so I will begin again.
Well, Chris works for Vince then, or which Chris are we talking?
Help.
Chris,
Oh, Hal,
He's a mechanic over there.
yeah. So
so he was the one who was kind of following through for me. And
somebody needs to follow. You're busy doing a lot of other things, but you
But
need to get
I can
somebody
still make a
pushing.
phone call. Yeah, and I will. Like I said, I just wasn't able to get hold of him recently. So, yeah, and then that should rightfully come up because it has not been accomplished.
You know, and we need people, I think, it's available, would be, they might get some use. Otherwise, we'll sell it.
Anything else, sir? Gentlemen?
No, it's good. Thanks for the update and being structured the way you are.
I got as fast as I could today.
Well, you did it in an hour.
I thought this was gonna take 3 hours.
Yeah, I did too. But he's learning.
I promise.
learning.
I promise. Sir,
Yeah.
Well, I don't have anything else. Is there any, anything you guys want to talk about other than what we've done?
No, I believe I'm good here.
Any public comments? Anybody online showing up?
No. Whoever was there just left, so.
waited just.
Guess they're betting on the come. All right, hearing none, let's adjourn this meeting at 12 after the hour.
Thanks for coming over, Dr. Brown. Appreciate it.
Thank you, gentlemen.